Good afternoon. My name is Anne Marie Johnson. I'm a vice president with CGI Federal. I am a proud co-founder of Federal Dukes and also the president. I want to welcome everyone to today's webinar with Federal Dukes, Shaping JMU's Federal Engagement Together. We're going to tell you about our strategy and how we're working with the university, give you a little background on Federal Dukes, tell you about our committees, and that'll be presented by each of our committee chairs. And then we have some calls to action and a Q&A session, as well as some upcoming events. We're going to talk for about 40 minutes, and then we've allocated about 20 minutes for Q&A. Let's go ahead and get started. First of all, I would like to start with a momentous milestone. On September 22nd, several of the Federal Dukes leadership team pictured here met with President Jim Schmidt. And you can see President Jim Schmidt is beside me. And we had a fantastic conversation where we shared ideas that Federal Dukes have been thinking about for many years of how to engage with the federal sector in a meaningful way, which is really important because the federal government sector is over 20% of Virginia's GDP. And President Schmidt was kind enough to give us the quote that you see. And I just want to return back to President Schmidt and his team. We are exhilarated to have this opportunity to work with the university and help with President Schmidt's bright, bold vision for JMU's future. And maybe you're curious about that document that I'm holding. So let's zoom in on that a little bit. This document is what we shared with President Duke at our meeting. He asked us, well, what do you have in mind for a federal strategy? And so we gave him this slide. He looked at us, he asked for my pen. Of course, I gave it to him. And you can see that in that meeting, he approved it, he signed it, and he dated it, and we went out into the hallway to get the picture that you saw in the previous slide. And what we're going to do through the next part of our presentation is we are going to walk you through some of the elements of this strategy. And to do that, I'd like to turn the stage over to a fellow co-founder, Tim Hartman, CEO of GovExec. Over to you, Tim.
Thanks, Anne Marie. I'd love to walk through a few the pillars of the Federal Duke strategy. Before I do that, I just wanted to say, when you think about the JMU brand and particularly in the government market, it's important to think about the size of the ecosystem of JMU alumni, students, but also family members. You can imagine that more than 50% of the JMU community is tied to the federal government through their own roles, through their parents, through other family members. And I think that frames the next few slides where we really see JMU having a strategic advantage based on its location, its existing connections to government contracting, plus the expanded alumni and parent base. And so this slide shows that the Board of Visitors, when they hired President Schmidt, they provided guidance on 5 priorities for JMU that should guide the president's agenda. And so this slide shows how a more focused federal strategy would support the JMU pillars. You can go across student experience, building a culture of innovation, elevating JMU to a position of national prominence. All of the Board of Visitors goals tie to some of the efforts that we've imagined for Federal Dukes and JMU in the federal space over the years. You can see a world where the federal market, with a larger effort from JMU, could create pathways to careers in business and government. We could expand partnerships with companies and nonprofits that are surrounding the ecosystem and federal agencies. There also are regions that JMU pulls from in the state of Virginia, such as Hampton Roads, Northern Virginia, Rockingham County, other counties in the Shenandoah Valley, that are really key economic regions of the state of Virginia. So JMU could serve the state in a stronger way with a more dedicated effort here. Further, JMU can build the brand, we can create more nationally known programs, and overall pursue a stronger, nationally prominent brand that is beyond just athletics. And so on the next slide, we summarized our own pillars to prepare for this meeting with President Schmidt. And I think it's really interesting because each of these 4 pillars mutually supports the other ones. So the way that we've simplified this is the JMU strategy, first and foremost, can drive growth for JMU. You could expand our grant efforts, which is obviously a priority for the university to maintain that R2 status. We could create corporate partnerships and ensure a strong flow of applicants to the university. When you look at the student value, there are lots of ways that this could create value for individual students. You can have pathways to careers. You can provide more professional development opportunities for both students, but also alumni who are in the government space, whether they're in agencies or government contracting. The third pillar is really important. As a public institution, JMU must show a high impact for the state of Virginia. And so the universities are an economic engine of the state of Virginia. And a stronger presence in the federal market could allow JMU to position its students to be a strong flow of labor to the federal market, but also be a strong economic driver of growth for Virginia in terms of entrepreneurialism, new business development, all of the things that drive the economy. And then finally, we talked about this already, but just expanding JMU's national reputation. And what we're talking about here is if you have marquee programs that JMU is running that get national attention, have a national reputation, you could really support the JMU brand and balance it so that it's both an academic brand that's nationally known and an athletic brand that's nationally known. Here's where Virginia Tech has done a great job of using athletics to raise their brand, but then also building nationally renowned programs behind that as well. And so you've seen that whether it's in the national security space or in their Northern Virginia Technology campus, that could be really a model of what JMU could do. And so on the next slide, Anne-Marie, this is our roadmap for JMU Federal Dukes. For those of you who have been aware of JMU Federal Dukes for the last five to 7 years, we have a lot of the progress that we've made. This is our roadmap for 2025 and 2026. We've done a lot of work to create liaisons and relationships in the JMU administration and in the faculty. We've done a lot of work to connect a lot of the alumni in the federal space to each other, but also to the university itself. We've grown the Federal Dukes membership. We're now, thousands of members and helping people connect and advance their careers together. But in 2025, we saw great steps forward in building actual curriculum and programs with JMU. We've been able to provide some professional development opportunities. We've been able to raise money to support Federal Dukes and support other JMU initiatives. And we've been able to create this framework of a federal strategy, which was really welcome, as Anne-Marie said, by the new President Schmidt. And so as we go forward, we're trying to build on this agenda and make sure that we can have something that's a little bit more tied into JMU, a little bit more sustainable, that adds value both to the members of Federal Dukes, the alumni of JMU, and also to the university. On the next slide, Anne-Marie, our strategic priorities are really trying to create that virtuous circle, whether it's, the students, alumni, or the country, the government. And our main priorities are to continue to increase awareness of the opportunity here for JMU and making sure that people understand that we have a lot of presence in the government space. We have senior political officials, senior administrators in government agencies, and we have JMU alumni that are running very important businesses in the contracting space across the country. We also want to make sure that we're helping to inform the coursework at JMU so that students are prepared for a career track in the federal space, in government contracting, or in federal agencies. And that involves building pathways. So pathways from the students out to the companies and pathways from the companies back to JMU, and really creating a pathway from JMU, academically into some of the major needs of the nation. And so all of these things are interesting ways that we could inform JMU and help advance it. Over the course of the rest of this session, we're going to talk a little bit about the different committees and the different agenda items that we have beyond that and ways that people can get involved. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mike Battle, another co-founder of Federal Dukes, to walk us through some of the remaining slides.
Tim, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking us through this. My role in this presentation is really to kind of step back and say, what's the foundation that we're working off of that's going to help us deliver on that strategy? And I'll take us back to when this organization originally started. 5 years ago, I like to call it this intrepid band of four alumni sat down in a coffee shop and started, brainstorming about creating something truly unique, a unique alumni engagement capability, leveraging where each one of us was in terms of our participation in the federal government sector. And what we came up with was this notion of JMU Federal Dukes. And the vision that we started with was um, fundamentally, we wanted something that recognized that we were a source of talent and expertise in the federal government sector, helping the federal government execute its mission. We are in that position today. We also recognized and wanted as a key part of our vision to play a vital role in this government ecosystem, one that impacted not only JMU's participation in helping the federal government execute around applied research, but also tying together all of the many senior leaders that come from JMU that are impacting the strategy and execution of the federal government mission. That was our vision, to be a source and to leverage the position that we have in making a difference there. And so we kind of stepped back and said, so what's our value to JMU? This is a unique model. We are thinking of creating something that has never truly existed, something that was strictly focused on a specific industry vertical. Well, we looked at that and said, hold on a second. We're going to demonstrate and lead an innovative model in a particular sector focused approach here. And what does that mean to JMU? Well, we recognize that we provide a lens into the federal government, what the needs are, what the capabilities the university needs to be able to prepare students for. We can be that lens of that perspective back to JMU. We also are offering expertise, people that are in a variety of different roles in supporting the federal government as contractors and or as federal government leaders, employees. We can provide real actionable insight and professional motivation to JMU to help the institution again prepare students and really create community, a connection between those who have graduated from JMU and existing students. And next was to really look at this as a differentiated draw for students. When you start looking at where we are in terms of student population in college, the available student population in college, it's now at that point where it is becoming smaller and smaller. Well, we need to be able to be attractive to this smaller pool of potential students. And that means you need to be able to offer real value in terms of career opportunities for those students once they graduate with a degree from JMU. We felt as though this organization can play a role in that. And last but not least, in expanding the services and capabilities of the institution. And that means curriculum, that means professional development, a variety of different things that help expand what JMU means to the students, what JMU means to the state, what JMU means to the federal government in its execution of mission. So we looked at our ability to be able to play a role in each one of these areas as values to JMU. So let's go to the next slide. And what the outcome of all of this looks like, and it drives our mission. It's elevating the JMU brand. Tim talked about that just a minute ago, about how important that brand is. And we see that what Federal Dukes are engaged in right now is a part of elevating that brand and providing those pathways. So connecting the federal government marketplace, connecting JMU to that marketplace is a key element of our mission. Facilitating partnerships between the government and JMU. There's so many opportunities in the federal government for grants that are driving research and activities that actually become a source of revenue for JMU. So we see ourselves as a key player in that. And our mission is to find ways to make that kind of a difference, to educate the market about JMU. You know, there are a lot of people that wear the secret decoder ring of JMU who function in the federal government. How do we create a brand around that? How do we create stickiness that if you're from JMU and you're a leader in the market, you're a leader in the federal government, how do you value and recognize when you see a JMU resume come across your desk? We want to make sure that that's meaningful, that it makes a key difference. It's our community, it's our brotherhood, for lack of a better term. We want to draw future students to JMU because of that foundation, because of that community and that connection. We want students to say, if I go to JMU, I know if I want to play in the federal government space, I am well positioned to do that because I wear the secret decoder ring as a JMU graduate. And last but not least, as part of our key mission, is to expand JMU's presence. We believe that there is significant opportunity for JMU to be a much more dominant brand across the Washington metropolitan area. You've heard before how much the Washington metropolitan economy is driven by the federal government, which touches so many people that have a connection to JMU. Well, we think we can be a catalyst for getting much more exposure for JMU in the DMV. So this is all part of our core mission as an organization. And we've made some significant progress. 5 years from those four people sitting around drinking coffee and telling lies to each other about what we could potentially do to where we are today. We moved from that to now well over 2,500 alums that are members of Federal Dukes. We've raised money to help facilitate the work that we're doing, both for exposure and engagement as well. Well over $20,000 so far and still moving. We've actually delivered on 20 plus events and educational programs over that period of time and launched two specific educational programs within the institution. And what that means is it's working directly with faculty and administration to understand the needs and shape curriculum that helps prepare JMU students to address those needs. And that's very important for us. Because of this 2,500 member community and because of all the outreach and connection, we have now touched over 1,000 companies that are doing business in and around the federal community. What that represents is a tremendous network of opportunities for students and alums to be able to, again, pursue career development and career advancement in this sector. And last but not least, we have taken this another step and actually driven engagement with faculty and staff as a key part of our mission and direction. We want to partner with the institution, with the leadership, with the faculty, so that we can share the knowledge and experience and connections that we have with them so that they can better prepare students to be successful. So we have had a tremendous impact over that period of time. And it's taken true leadership to be able to get where we have gotten so far. And that leadership really starts with the folks on the left-hand side of the screen, which are those four people who are sitting around that bistro drinking coffee and talking about the art of the possible. And we've had tremendous leadership from Anne Marie Johnson, who took on the role as president and has guided us and nurtured this entire organization from day one. And I can't thank Anne Marie enough. but the rest of us have been involved in the initial strategy. On the right are the folks who are really driving the work that we are doing. And these are the folks that run our committees. The committees are associated with outreach and engagement, with connection in terms of engagement with faculty and the university, in terms of communications, where we tell our story, how we tell our story, and the programs and events. And that's Matt Klein, Matt Brown, Lisa Mund, and Carl Wojtkin. These folks have been key players in shaping our activities and getting things moving and delivering results. Now, this takes more effort. It takes a tremendous amount of effort for us to be able to continue to do what we're doing. And that effort means we need volunteers. We need folks that are going to come in and help execute this strategy because it is meaningful to the institution and to President Schmidt as our new leader. And what does that volunteer opportunity mean to you? Well, it means expanding your network. We are connecting people at various elements of the ecosystem. And that, to me, equals expanding your personal network, which will help you throughout your career and help these students who are coming out of the school hit the ground running. You get more exposure by virtue of what we're doing to government leaders, industry leaders, and to academia. That is extraordinarily useful for your career advancement and the kind of things that many people do in this sector in terms of business growth. And as the next bullet says, growing your business. In terms of everything from business development all the way through your professional career development, we're talking about what we've been able to do and the volunteer opportunities that we offer, providing ways that you can grow the business that you're involved in today. If you're mid-career or even if you're just coming out, getting a job becomes something that the role as a volunteer in Federal Dukes will help you with. It gives you more visibility to the needs in the market. It provides you a real connection to the network that we're building. All of these things are really important to giving you an opportunity to again, advance in your career and or get out of get off the ground as a fresh out from school and get a job. Acquiring new skills. We're engaged in working very closely with understanding the needs of the federal government, where the government's going, what are some of the things that are going to be important in the future. Well, what you're able to do is get first insight into those. And as a result, help start building skills that, again, will help you be successful throughout your career. This all comes as a result of being a volunteer as part of any one of the different areas that I spoke of in terms of our committees. And probably the foundational and most important aspect of this, one of the most important aspects of the benefits of volunteering, is being a part of the new strategy that President Schmidt has brought forward, which is about big change fast, making a real difference in the future of JMU. We are tied in on that, and we have complete support from the administration, and you can be a part of that exciting future that we are now really excited about as an organization. So the next step in this presentation is really to help you understand more specifically what our committees are doing, as well as what are the real volunteer opportunities in support of those committees. So we're going to start out with Carl Wojtkin, who's going to give us a bit of insight on programming and events. Carl?
Yes, Mike. Hopefully my camera's coming up there. I've got 3 main points, and I'll be brief, be bold, and be gone. First point is, yes, it is the Halloween party today, and I am wearing my Halloween costume for the briefing today. Not just for this briefing, but I am wearing my lederhosen today. So a bit of levity right there. But number 2, I want to say that I am a personal story for the JMU Federal Dukes as a success story. Everything that Mike Battle just said is absolutely true. I took over as the programming and events chair last year as I was in between jobs. And it couldn't have been a tougher time because just as I did that, Doge hit, and the market was, as we all know, became very, very tough for federal employees to seek employment. And I leaned heavily on my JMU network. I leaned heavily into the program and event side of this, and it produced absolute results. I received absolute mentorship from everyone in this group right here. The people that are up on the top of the screen and the panelists of this committee, each one of them at some point gave me some very valuable insight and helped guide me to where I'm at right now, which is fully employed. And I'm very, very happy for the JMU Federal Dukes for doing that for me. I was able to give back, and sadly, this is an opportunity for someone else out there because my employment's taken off, and I need to pass this on to someone else, pass the torch on to another alumni who can take this to bigger and better heights. But as a program events chair, the meat of what I did in the last year centers on those three main pillars of supporting students, supporting James Madison and their vision, and also supporting alumni as well. We did events such as Federal Contracting in Flux, which is a free webinar that we offered up to the, people would pay to see these people normally, hundreds of dollars. We offered free webinar to show and highlight where the federal contracting world is at right now. We offered JMU X Labs a spot to shine. JMU X Labs, for those of you who don't know, is our brightest students at James Madison who are given opportunities to work with industry and make solutions to problems that companies in industry are having, and highlighting that not only our JMU students but helping those that align themselves with JMU and utilizing the vast academic resources to help solve federal companies' problems. We've got numerous other events that we've done throughout the years, happy hours. I won't speak too much and take too much of Lisa's thunder. We also did a Navigating Federal Contracts webinar as well. We hope to do more of these in the future. I've got two current teammates, Veronica and Claire, that I need to make a shout out to real quick for helping me out throughout the year. And in closing, as I pitch the next briefer, I'd like to thank the JMU Federal Dukes panelists all here on the board, and then all my federal, my chair members. You were a great help this year. I'm sad to go, but I hope the next person can have just as much success as I had in supporting JMU Federal Dukes and can take this to the next level. Thank you very much.
Hi, everybody, and thank you, Carl. So we'll be moving into my slide, which is communications. My name is Lisa Shea-Munt. I'm the co-founder of the Pulse of GovCon, and I've been the communications chair for the last couple of years for the JMU Federal Dukes. You'll see here that being communications chair has a bunch of different things that I have to do. So I currently create the graphics on Canva. I schedule the postings on our Hootsuite so that we have a lot of involvement. I manage the website and any updates that we need there. I source, write, and promote all of the alumni spotlights. If you've ever put in for that, it is a rolling application type of submission process with a Google form. And so we always like to highlight our JMU Federal Duke alumni on our LinkedIn. Speaking of which, I am the LinkedIn, not necessarily just one of the managers of the group, but if you ever interact with the JMU Federal Dukes LinkedIn profile, that's secretly me answering all of the lovely DMs and accepting people as connections. I also manage our YouTube, so anytime that we need to post and promote any different videos, including the one that we are going to post as a recording of this one here. As Carl mentioned, I'm also an ambassador that attends the events, and I do like to try to help plan and schedule some of the informal happy hours and get-togethers. So if you've ever attended one of those, I hope that we've had an opportunity to meet. So some notable accomplishments, since at least the last time I checked, our LinkedIn group has about 2,400 members, which has grown significantly in the last couple of years. I know when I started, it was, I think, under 1,000. And so we've just continued to see an uptick on people that join. And that's where the most community communications, just cross-posting for our network really happens. I also mentioned those Federal Dukes alumni spotlights. I've published 24. I am always looking for more. If you want to see where that happens, please just feel free to message me on LinkedIn or post in the chat. And then I also try to encourage others to sign up for our listserv, but I know that's going to be discussed a little later. So if anybody, ever wants to get involved, there's a ton of opportunities. I am a committee of one, so I am always looking for anyone that wants to help me on the creative side, on the marketing side, any way that you think that we can continue to increase our presence. Now, as Carl shared a success story, I would also like to share a success story about what it means to volunteer with this organization. Through the connections found in the JMU Federal Dukes, I was actually able to connect with the school and start offering a government contracting certificate through the School of Professional and Continuing Education. And now I'm locked in for a 2-year contract with the school to offer that sort of professional development training. So thank you to the JMU Federal Dukes, and I look forward to speaking with anybody else that wants to volunteer in the future. And now I will pass it over to Matt Brown.
Thank you, Lisa. Hello, everyone. My name is Matt Brown. I'm the CEO of a company called ShorePoint in the federal sector, and I am the chair of university engagement for JMU Federal Dukes. What does that mean? So university engagement for us is we're looking to streamline communications from the entire Federal Dukes community of over 2,400 members back to the university and build the relationships within the university so that we can make appropriate connections for whatever it is we may want to provide. So we have worked very closely with professors and deans and even provosts at the university to identify ways to work with faculty around curriculum, around mentoring for students, around guest lecturing in classes, around projects that they could use for the end of their program, a number of different areas within the university and how to engage with them. We've also done several meetings with different faculty in different colleges. Lisa mentioned the Professional and Continuing Education. They had an event in DC that we attended and supported and marketed in Federal Dukes. So we're always looking for ways to expand our reach into the university and then bring the community into that. So working with the university leaders, we can connect in and try to figure out where we can bring engagement from the Federal Dukes membership to support both the university's growth as well as the delivery of educational programs at the university, and then ultimately support students as they look to transition into the federal market. I will have an anecdote story of success as well through the Federal Dukes, actually where I met Lisa and her company. Our company had some work that we needed to do for a key capture opportunity. We worked with Lisa's company and they provided excellent support to us in terms of the proposal, and our orals team to help build. Enabled us to capture $1 billion IDIQ at one of the organizations, and I would not have known Lisa without the Federal Dukes community. So another example of making connections in the community that was a kind of a tangential benefit of ultimately the idea about giving back to the university and growing the university and the engagement with the federal space. We're always looking for volunteers. We do have several members of the university engagement team. Mike Fleischer, Mike Zaromsky, Reed Madison, and Drew Henderson have all supported university engagement. We have a goal of connecting one leader with each member of, with each college within the university. We've had more success in some areas than others, but we're still working hard to kind of build those one-to-one relationships with each university. So there is a direct point of contact with the Federal Dukes that we can expand. We're always looking for more support to the team to help kind of build those pathways and those gaps. So if you're interested, please don't hesitate to reach out. If you're a company or interested in how you can support the university and want to kind of give back either through personal time or through a company and how you want to engage with the university, university engagement is probably the right place to come to. So please feel free to reach out to me, and I can hope myself or our team can help navigate you in the right direction. So with that, I'll pass it over to Matt Klein and sponsorship.
Thanks, Matt. And yes, I'm Matt Klein, a 2013 grad at JMU, and now I'm the have a marketing background and have been in the sponsorship chair role now for about a year and a half with the JMU Federal Dukes. And this actually been a newer role for this organization, and it's really centered on just driving revenue for the Federal Dukes, operating budgets, but also just supporting all of our programs and everything that we do, and the vision that you saw laid out here. So, kicking off the year, we were focused on just laying a foundation for this role. The first major step was defining clear sponsorship tiers and developing strategies for engagement. And then from there, we began meeting with a lot of JMU alumni who are executives and just passionate Dukes that are looking to partner and believe with this about this mission. And I'm happy to report that we had a successful year kicking off. And I want to personally thank our two major partners on the year, ShorePoint with Matt Brown here and Winvale, which is now where Carl's working too. So again, a lot of successes across the board, cross-pollination from different organizations, companies, even other associations I've seen. So it's been great within my first year and a half here working with the JMU Federal Dukes. And beyond securing these first partnerships and the events that came with them, we also delivered a major benefit back to all of our sponsors by hosting a homecoming, experience the other week, which was a great win from the JMU football team, by the way. But also it was great to be able to get together in the brand new on-field suite that they have at JMU, and so that was a unique experience not only for our sponsors, but we also raffled that out to a lot of the folks in our community. And so that was a really fun way to get to meet some of the folks in person beyond some of our other events, while also, again, showing appreciation for our sponsors. So it was, right on the field, just an incredible opportunity to engage with our community, but also with different admins at the school and everything too. So, looking ahead this year, our focus is really to continue to grow on these initial successes. We aim to, engage with more alumni in year two, drive those sponsorship and virtual webinars with our in-person, events. In addition to, a newly planned CEO roundtable opportunity. So that's something that we're looking to put together this year, that will bring together alumni and executives, from all across industry, all under one roof. So if you're interested in, helping the Federal Dukes grow and reach that vision and mission that we discussed and was laid out, we're happy to set up a time to talk, and we love having kind of one-on-ones, meeting people from different organizations and learning what your all's goals are and how we can help to support your all's missions as a company. And we're also just open to volunteers. Again, I'm also a team of one, but also working with Tim and the rest of the team really in a lot of ways. We all kind of work across the board in different ways strategically, but also supporting each other. But we're always looking for extra hands to help us to reach out to different executives. If you know folks that you think would be a great, company to work with and partner with, we're all ears. And of course, we want to help those JMU Dukes that are in industry as well. In addition to just sponsorship promotions, like if you're on LinkedIn, you see stuff going on and you want to help us promote different events, different sponsors, things that we have going on, we're always happy to have the extra engagement on LinkedIn and across our other social channels and stuff too. And then for the next role too, if you want to go to the next slide. So we do have an upcoming role that I think Lisa alluded to during her talk as well, but we have an opening for the membership chair. So this is a brand new role, And the goal is to continue to build on the growth and the membership and community that we have already built, but also ultimately a listserv within that community that goes beyond what we have now. We can truly track and engage with folks at a higher level. Create newsletters, manage things from an operational standpoint, and truly track our successes. And so this role is going to be a huge help when it comes to some of those just strategic and operational functions. And if you're good at connecting people, driving growth, and and you're passionate about JMU, you're within the federal community, and you want to get involved, we'd happy to talk to you about what that would look like, and if things would be a good fit. And so we're always looking for great people to bring onto our board. And this is an area that we feel like is of need for our mission, our vision kind of moving forward. So again, for this position, if you want to reach out to the board, if you even want to reach out to me, directly on LinkedIn, feel free to connect there. And likewise for sponsorships and stuff too, feel free to reach out to me directly on LinkedIn as well. And then from there, I'll pass it off to Anne Marie for calls to action.
On camera, and we're going to have a short conversation about why all of this work that we're doing is so important. Me, I'll just start it out by saying that this is an important way to serve our nation and to bring all of the values and the education and the opportunity that each one of us got from JMU and give back to our community. Our culture is that Dukes hold doors, and by getting involved with Federal Dukes, we can serve our nation and hold doors open to protect and serve our nation. So I'm curious from the other leaders to come on camera, why does this work matter to you?
Yeah, so Anne Marie, I think that a couple of things that are really important to me here. One is I think JMU should have a national profile. And to be able to do that, we've got to be able to move from where we are as an R2 to an R1
Yep.
institution. And we got to leverage the point of presence and the ubiquitous nature with which JMU populates the DMV. I want to see us move towards even having a campus presence in the Washington metropolitan area. And in order to do that, it's got to be driven off the foundation of the federal government ecosystem. So, yeah, this is important to me because this is all about taking JMU from where it was when I got there in 1977 to where it is, where it could potentially be in the next decade. So that's my point of view.
Yeah, I just echo what Mike said. I think that has a lot of the vision that inspired me when we got together originally and some of the progress that we've made. But the other piece of it that I would say is really cool is there's very few places in life where you can merge your personal and professional interests and mash them up in such interesting ways. So, I'm a proud JMU alum. I want to see JMU do well. I love hearing Mike talk about the vision of the future for JMU and the growth that we've seen. But I've also met a lot of great friends. I've got a lot of engagement with my customers here, and I'm still engaged with the JMU campus in a way that I never imagined. So having those three things overlap is also a really cool benefit.
So, one of the things that I think would be really interesting is when and Tim brought this up, and this was also a part of our conversation with Dr. Schmidt, was looking at our competition. JMU, I like to, being an ex-football player at JMU, I like to fashion JMU as being a bit of a junkyard dog mentality. We don't come with any kind of preconceived biases. We don't come with expectations and things like some of the folks who went to UVA and some of these other schools. But what we are is we're fighters. And I look at what we could potentially do in this space as an organization, not only as an institution, but as an organization. We're building something that the Federal Dukes is building something that has never existed in JMU. And now we're not only making tremendous progress doing what we're doing, but we're also getting visibility to other industry organizations within JMU. This is a pathfinder for a new way to engage and make a difference with the institution, and that's also something very exciting. This is new, and it's big change, fast thinking. So I'm excited to be a part of that, frankly.
I want to jump on something that both Mike and Tim said. We want to help JMU, and the landscape of the college environment has changed dramatically. I was at JMU in the same era that Mike was. It was a sleepy little college town, and JMU has grown exponentially, and we're very proud of it. But as Mike said earlier, the population that is the traditional population that's eligible to go to college is declining from 2025 on for the next 18 years. And so there will be sort of a dog eat dog world to go after those kids. And we need to expand our portfolio to attract kids, quality kids to come to our school, and postgraduate. We want to help graduates of JMU and having a presence in the DMV. I live in the Alexandria area, and it annoys me to no end that my friends can point to the Virginia Tech presence there with Amazon, and darn it all, I want JMU to have a presence, and I want them to be viewed as that go-to university for the next 10 or 20 years. And so we've got work to do to help JMU do that. And President Schmidt, I have to say, we've gotten such positive feedback from him since he has come on board. With no disrespect to previous administrations, he is fully engaged, finger on the pulse, looking for big ideas, looking to help the university grow, looking to help solidify its relationship with alumni and with partners across the region. So this is a unique opportunity for us and a unique time for us to engage across our portfolio. And I hope some of you listening will jump on board.
Yeah, Dave, to that end, I would say, I mean, I know that President Jim is very excited about being about the Federal Dukes and what we're doing here, and I think we certainly timed our meeting with him very appropriately. It was a perfect time as really the strategic vision for the university is coming together, and so we want to be a part of that conversation right away, out of the gate, and show what we can do. Again, we're very passionate JMU alum, as many Dukes are. And I think the more that we're able to open doors, not only to new students, but also to alums and folks that are just graduating, right? Finding opportunities, building workforce pipelines, everything that we've laid out in our plan. It's incredible to see that President Jim said that was one of the fastest things that he signed off on here, coming over to JMU. And so that speaks volumes, I think, not only to his vision, but also what the work that we've laid out here from a leadership team.
Yeah, and let's not get it twisted. There's a big aspect of this which is about growing the revenue base for JMU. We have to. And if one of the few vertical areas that has that potential is the government contracting arena. And while things are in a bit of chaos right now, they will level out. And there are going to be entrepreneurs and organizations that will continue to grow, continue to have financial success. And if JMU wants to be a part of that, to get some of that take, it must be of value in this space. And that's something that we will look back on and say we were the catalyst for making that happen, quite frankly. And I love the idea of more and more entrepreneurs coming out of JMU, finding a way to be successful, grow companies, make a difference in the mission, all of that. and growing the space where we can in terms of bringing resources to the institution. Um, like I said, being an ex-football player, I need somebody who's going to make millions and millions of dollars so that we can pay NIL and keep some of these athletes and keep selling our brand athletically. That's going to come out of the federal government space, let me tell you. So I'm excited about that. We need everybody to get on board with that job too.
So with the message of everybody getting on board, let's move into our calls to action. We've shared with you what an amazing leadership team we have, and now what I'd like to do is to talk through where you can actually volunteer for JMU. So it's three primary areas. First is we're looking for big ideas. These big ideas are going to roll into the conversations that we have with the university as they're developing their strategic plan on an elevated level. We have a questionnaire, and you'll get these links separately, where you can give your big ideas about what JMU should do to be nationally known in the federal government sector and what federal government programs could be supported in Harrisonburg. If you get a chance in the next coming weeks to see President speak as he continues his listening tour, please take advantage to do that. He's got some very compelling stories and success stories that he wants to repeat here at JMU. Please help the Federal Dukes to give better ideas to the university by filling out that form. A second call to action. You heard the volunteer requests from each one of the chairs. Hopefully you also saw these are a remarkable group of leaders. And I want to extend my gratitude out to this incredible leadership team. If you saw the titles, we have CEOs, we have founders, we have people who have been highly successful in their career. I learned from each of them in each encounter that I have. We continue to hold that JMU spirit of being very high caliber workers who work in an egoless way, who support and help each other. And that is why we have been successful. So if you're interested in volunteering, please fill out that form. And then finally, sponsorship. Matt and Tim launched a successful sponsorship program. I want to give a shout out to Matt Brown for being our first sponsor, ShorePoint, and also to Windvale. We want to grow our sponsorship because with money, we can do more, and we need those funds in order to continue to accelerate that vision. So this is just a quick note on the volunteer opportunities. You're going to see these in the form that you'll get a link to. The deadline for responding is by November 21st. We want to have conversations and make decisions before the end of the calendar year so that when we start our meetings up again in January, we have our new teams in place and our chairs have an opportunity to meet with their teams and start to put together their plans throughout calendar year 26. And now let's spend a moment on our upcoming events. So we have some upcoming events. On December 5th, we have a repeat conversation because the world is changing so much so fast. Ken Dodds and Kevin Plexico have both graciously agreed to come back to Federal Dukes. As noted earlier, your company could pay a couple $100s to hear them speak, or you can come get it as a Federal Dukes webinar at no cost. And yes, you can share this with your friends from UVA and Virginia Tech because Dukes hold doors. We also are working on our series of spring webinars, happy hours, and again, we're going to be doing a homecoming tailgate with the Alumni Association on Hanson Field, and just maybe we'll do another end zone experience. We'll see what happens with that. We have a vibrant communication channel. You can come to our website, you can email us, you join our LinkedIn group. And remember, Dukes hold doors, so share this with your friends. You can follow along on these other channels as well. And now, let's shift over to some questions and answer. Do we have any questions in our chat or anyone who wants to come on mic and ask a question? Don't be shy.
Anne-Marie, this is Lisa. I do wonder if the participants can access the chat because I know I only have the capability to talk to hosts and panelists. So I'm not sure if that
Okay.
feature is enabled.
Lex, can you help us out?
We have one hand raised by Alan.
Okay, Alan.
Mr. Balutis.
Oh, hello. Our favorite Duke dad.
We can't hear you, Alan. Chat is available for attendees now. Hey, Alan, try typing in your question. It could be that we just can't hear you, but we can see your chat.
So Stephanie is asking if you aren't interested in a board level position, could you get involved as a contributing member to one of the committees? Stephanie, absolutely you can. You'll see on that volunteer form that our committees of one or a few are looking for volunteers. And yes, please sign up and help us to know what special talent or value you can bring into that role so we can help to get a great fit. I look forward to seeing your application, Stephanie. Thank you, Lisa, for posting the big idea form. Alan makes a point. Please don't forget Congress as well as the executive branch when you talk about working for the government. Absolutely, Alan. And also, let's not forget our military. Federal Dukes is embarking upon a closer engagement with JMU Valor, which is the military alumni group, because they're also Federal Dukes, and we want to look for ways where we can help each other. We've had some initial conversations, and 26 is going to be a banner year for us to reach out. So to underscore Alan's point, when we talk about the federal government sector, we mean all branches of government. We include the military. We refer to the industry contractors as well as the service contractors. And we refer to past government people like icons like Alan Balutis and many others that are out there. Lisa's also
Anne-Marie, this is Dave. I want to underscore one thing you said about the private sector. When we look at Federal Dukes, I look at it as the tip of an iceberg, the folks who are working in government. The largest block of folks working in the federal sector are actually private sector employees that are supporting terribly important public missions. And so don't just look at it as being an employee of federal government or of Congress or of the judicial or of the military, but there's a large block of opportunities to impact those policies and those programs working in the private sector as well.
Yep. Any last questions before we end in 2 minutes? Okay, apologies, driving. Where and when can we access the survey, says Kelvin. You'll see these links on our LinkedIn channel for sure. Any other communications channels I'm not remembering?
I just dropped the links in here too. So it's in the chat.
Right, but for people that are driving, they can go to LinkedIn and get it.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll post
Okay.
them.
Okay. Well, we are at our last minute. I want to give a huge shout out to this amazing leadership team. You are fantastic presenters. You demonstrate the value of a JMU education, not only in the quality of what you're able to deliver, but in the way that you collaborate with each other so that we together can tell the story that we have been able to tell here and in the manner that we have. I hope that several of you join our team and help President Schmidt to take JMU to the next level. With that, I wish everyone a great rest of your day, and I got to get this in. Go Dukes!